Welcome back to the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog, where we examine, discuss, celebrate, and honor all things college football across the entire college football landscape, but with a very special emphasis on the Missouri Tigers and the University of Iowa Hawkeyes. Woo! It's great to be back with you once again. I'm your host, Blair Parks. Holla at you, boy! Just back from a much-needed long vacation, but I am ready to get back in the groove, in the swing of things, because as of today, coming to you live from the Hawk/Man Cave, we are 33 days away from college football kickoff Saturday of Labor Day. How excellent is that? It is the most wonderful time of the year. It just is. And it's great to be back with you. And today, on today's episode is one of, if not my favorite episode I had last season during the inaugural season of the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. This episode is my bold predictions for the upcoming 2022 college football season. Cannot wait to get this underway. But before I move any forward, I want to give a big shout out to all of you, the Black and Gold family, college football fans alike. You are all welcome here. Our first goal and milestone has been met. The last time I was here with you, 3+ weeks ago, we were closing in on 50 subscribers. And thanks to you, your support, your time, your graciousness, your kindness, we have eclipsed 50 subscribers. So, to all of you who have smashed the subscribe button, as the kiddos say these days, I like to say gracias, danke, merci beaucoup, origato, and thank you for meeting our first goal for our first subscribers. So, from here out, I'm not going to stop from there. My new goal, very ambitious goal, but I think with your help, if you continue to like, share, subscribe, comment, I believe we can get there. I'm setting a goal of 100 subscribers by college football kickoff weekend. So we do have a little over a month to go. I think we can do it together. Please, once again, thank you for everything you've done for the channel. I come to you. This is an absolute pleasure. I humble myself in front of you. I do not do this for any sort of monetary gain, but if something did come from this, I absolutely would entertain that. But I'm just so happy to be here with you, sharing my love, my passion of college football with you on the weekly. So thank you for all that you do. But please, if this is your first time tuning in, welcome. Please like, share, subscribe, comment. So, I love this episode. I cannot wait to get this going. To wax poetic, some lyrics from the Pointer Sisters hit of the mid-'80s. I'm so excited, and I just can't hide it. Woo! And another big woo! Congratulations to the one and only Nature Boy, Ric Flair, one of my childhood idols. Last night actually, he fought his last ever the wrestling match in Nashville on SummerSlam, I believe is what the event was. Went out a winner, so congratulations, Ric Flair. I salute you. Enjoy your retirement. Enjoy your family and your time. What an absolute legend. It really makes me a little bit sad, because I'm sure there's a good number of young folks out there who have no idea who Ric Flair, the Nature Boy, is. Absolutely my favorite wrestler growing up. And hey, while you're at it, feel free to comment below. Let me know who your favorite classic wrestler was. I'm not looking for the Brock Lesnar's, the Beast, Roman Reigns, or John Cena. I'm talking about the old boys like Brutus the Barber Beefcake, Jake the Snake Roberts, Hulk Hogan, the Ultimate Warrior, and maybe one of my other favorites, the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. Because you know why? Everybody's got a price for the $1 Million Man. Let me know who your favorite wrestler was back in the day. But without further ado, let's get to my bold predictions for the upcoming 2022 season. Now, before I go into these are what these are. Now, some of these are a little bit bold. Like, for example, if I was to say Ohio State and Alabama are going to meet up in the national championship game, that's not necessarily all that bold, because that's pretty much what everyone almost is either predicting or expecting. So some will be slightly bold, but some will be very bold. And what I will do at the end of the season and the off season, just as I did during last year's, I will absolutely look back and see how I did at the conclusion of the season and postseason in 2022 and grade myself how good, bad, or ugly was I when it came down to these bold predictions. So without further ado, let's get it. So my very first bold prediction, I have 25, which I did cut it down. I wanted to give you not too many, but not too few. So bear with me. And feel free, as I share these, comment. Let me know what you think. Do you agree? Highly disagree, kind of agree, maybe you're on the fence, or if there is any here that you believe we need to get you tested, perhaps throw on a white jacket on you and throw you in a padded room, feel free. That's totally fine. Let me know what you think. Everyone is welcome. This is a safe space for discussion. As long as we just keep it, adult-like, we all know how to properly act. So let's get it. So number one, I predict prior to conference championship weekend, we will have 0 remaining undefeated teams at the FBS Division I level. No one will this season go unscathed. Everybody will have at least one loss prior to conference championship weekend. So once again, that'll be 0.0 teams who will be undefeated, as the great Dean Wormer once said in Animal House. Number two, I predict that this year's college football playoff, which it's really more of an invitation than it is a playoff, but this year's college football playoff field will be very familiar, almost status quo, to some of the playoff fields of the recent past. Unfortunately, I think it is going to be the same old movie, but that being said, we will absolutely buy tickets, we will camp out, and I will see you front row for the movie when the curtain comes up for the college football playoff. And I'll further expand on this. Number three, I do predict that this year in the college football playoff field, the Pac-12 will make a return, and they will be represented in this year's college football playoff field. Stay tuned. I will let you know what Pac-12 team I predict will make the college football playoff field. It may or may not surprise you. So here we go. Number four. I got one more until I unveil to you my college football playoff field. Much like last season, the SEC title game will act as a pseudo play-in game for the college football playoff, or an elimination game, depending on how you look at it. Now, last year, was that the full case? It was for Alabama. Alabama absolutely had to win the SEC title game to get in, which they did. Georgia, even with a loss, as I predicted, still would make the field, being 12-1. But this year's SEC title game, it will absolutely be a play-in or an elim game. The winner, I believe, is in the field, and the loser is out. Avita Zane. So here we go. In alphabetical order, number 5 here is my predicted college football playoff field. It'll be Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, and Utah. That is who I predict will be this year's invites to the college football playoff at the end of the season. Now, this is very, very paper thin. When I look at the other potential candidates, it really comes down to the potential wins or losses, big wins, big losses in the non-conference, but also head-to-head. I think this year you're not going to have as many teams who are going to be in the running for one of the 4 coveted spots in the CFP. Now, other potential candidates, I believe they're actually only going to be 7 teams that can find themselves playing for a potential berth. Other than the first 4 I just gave you, I believe NC State will have a very good shot, Georgia, the defending national champions, and also the defending Big Ten champions, the Michigan Wolverines. I believe those are the only 7 teams, and the 4 I mentioned, who have a legitimate chance to get into the college football playoff field. Now, when you hear that, there's some usual power players, the usual suspects, or teams who are getting a lot of preseason hype who I did not mention there. Some of those being Texas A&M, Texas, Oklahoma, USC, and Notre Dame. Some of these I will talk a little bit more later here in this episode. So those are the 4 I have in, and the potential 3 who could find themselves in or be the first, second, or third team out. So moving on, let's talk a little bit of Heisman. Once upon a time at Iowa, Mark Wiseman for Heisman, if you folks in Iowa City remember that. So your Heisman Trophy finalists, these are the folks who will find themselves in the New York City Athletic Club, right there with a chance to hoist the hardware of the Heisman Trophy. Here they are. I have 4 of them. Let's see, 1, 2, actually 5. I have 5 finalists. Nope, no disrespect. I do make the occasional mistake here and there. I have 5 Heisman Trophy finalists, and they are here they are. We have Will Anderson Jr., the stud linebacker from Alabama. I believe running back from Ohio State, Travion Henderson, will be a finalist. C.J. Stroud, the Ohio State quarterback, I believe, will also be a finalist. And actually, I only have 4, so I should have just went with my notes. I apologize. Hate to, make a fool in front of you, the Black and Gold family. I humbly ask for your forgiveness. Now, my last Heisman Trophy finalist, and this is going to be a little bit of a shocker to some of you, but I think this team will be absolutely more improved. His numbers were studly last year, even though he took over, I believe it was game 3 as the full-time starter, actually game 4 as the full-time starter, I believe. I believe Tennessee quarterback Hendon Hooker will be your 4th and final Heisman Trophy finalist. Now, let me know what you think. Feel free, like, share, rate, subscribe. I appreciate any insight, any comment, any question. Any questions? As David S. Pumpkins would say. Number 8. I believe that 2 coaches who are in their inaugural seasons at new programs, 2 of them will lead their teams both either 2 conference championship games or 2 conference championship titles. If you recall in the offseason, the coaching carousel, the musical chairs just spun and the music played out of control. We had some big names leave big name programs for other big name programs. So I think 2 of the new arrivals, the 2 new big men on campus, at 2 of these power players will get their teams to conference championships or win a conference championship title. And these 2, one of them I think might surprise you. Most of you are probably thinking I'm going to say USC's new head man, Lincoln Riley. Nope, I'm looking further north, but within the Pac-12. I believe Oregon's new head coach, former Georgia defensive coordinator Dan Lanning, will lead the Oregon Ducks to the Pac-12 Conference Championship game. And the other one, I believe Oklahoma's new head man, former Clemson defensive coordinator Brent Venables, will get Oklahoma also to the Big 12 championship game, and I actually like Oklahoma and Brent Venables to win the Big 12 championship game this season. Now, the rest of my predictions for conferences, for who I think will win the national title, you're going to have to wait a few more weeks for my big previews and predictions show when I break down, for example, what team I think will win the ACC Atlantic, which one will win the ACC Coastal, and who will win that matchup to represent the ACC. But obviously, as you can tell, that's why I'm not really giving one away, is that's going to be Clemson, since I do have them as one of my 4 college football playoff invitees. So moving on. Number 9. If you were with me last season, you know I gave much love and props to my boy, Western Kentucky quarterback Bailey Zappi, who zapped the rest of the competition. He rewrote the record books and etched himself forever in the glory and annals of college football. He set new records for touchdowns in a season and also passing yards in a season. So I think there's going to be another, now he was absolutely my best player at the non-Power 5 level in that last season. I gave him mad love. So I'm telling you that this person, I believe, is going to be the best and biggest star at the non-Power 5 ranks this season. I am very high on Fresno State quarterback Jake Haener. I think Jake Haener, for some of you, I think a lot of you who are college football fanatics like myself or enthusiasts, you already know that name. Last year, big time numbers. He's back for his another season as the starting quarterback, and they do have some big time matchups on their schedule against legitimate Power 5 teams. They do play USC and Oregon State from the Pac-12, and they also play a very good team in Boise State, who I project is going to be very, very good within the Mountain West Conference, just like Fresno State is. So all eyes, be ready to hear that name, Fresno State quarterback Jake Haener. He'll be the stud king of the mountain at the Power 5 level this season. Now, number 10, just like last season when Bailey Zappi broke those records, I believe that there actually will be another record broken this season at the non-Power 5 ranks, which no one will really seem to see coming or talk about when it happens. Very few people celebrated Bailey Zappi's accomplishments last season. Myself, I did not. Like I said, I think he actually should have got an invite for the Heisman Trophy. That's just me. But this year, at the non-Power 5 level, another record will be broken, I predict. And that will be by Troy linebacker Carlton Martial. Stud linebacker, needs only 104 tackles to break the current record for most career tackles ever. As long as he can stay healthy and his defense is on the field enough, I absolutely believe he should be able to eclipse 104 tackles. Actually, 103 to eclipse the record, 104 to rewrite the record book with his name in the column at number 1. So we'll definitely keep 2 eyes on Carlton Martial there at Troy, stud linebacker. Number 11, staying at the non-Power 5 level, and I really hate saying that because there are excellent teams. And these are the teams that I'm going to tell you right now at the non-Power 5 level. If they are on your team's schedule, you better watch out. You better not cry. No, you better not breathe too easy or don't overlook them, because these are teams that are going to give anybody fits, and I expect them to be big-time power players within their own conferences. So this year, the creams of the crop that I predict within the non-Power 5 level will be Central Florida, Houston, Northern Illinois, Boise State, Appalachian State, Fresno State, and Air Force. Those are the teams that could they find themselves ranked at some point this season? Absolutely. Are they teams that could knock off your favorite team in the non-conference or win their respective conferences? Absolutely. So keep an eye out for those teams I just listed. And NIU, the nice thing about NIU, a team that's coming off, they're the defending MAC title winners last season. They defeated Kent State in the MAC title game, have basically everybody back, and they play not one, but two Power 5 opponents back-to-back weeks, and they both happen to be from the mighty SEC. They have Vanderbilt and Kentucky. So watch out for that. I already mentioned about Fresno State having USC and Oregon State from the Pac-12. So watch out. Those teams. And Appalachian State, I believe they play North Carolina. Air Force, they play within their state. They play the State School of Colorado, the Buffaloes. Boise State, they play some tough opponents as well. UCF has a big game against Louisville, and they also play Georgia Tech from the ACC. Houston has Texas Tech from the Big 12. So be on the lookout for these teams. Just telling you right now, do not sleep on them. Now, to wrap up my non-Power 5 portion of my 2022 bold predictions, number 12. I predict that the winner of the Mountain West Championship game, which I predict will be between Air Force and Fresno State, will represent the non-Power 5 in the New Year's Six Bowl game. Now, that's a big deal any year for a non-Power 5 program, but especially for Air Force. If that ends up coming to fruition, if they knock off the Bulldogs, they will be the first ever academy school to claim a New Year's Six bowl berth. So that would absolutely be historic right there. You'll have to tune in once again to my predictions episode later this summer to see who I think is going to win the Mountain West Conference. Number 13, let's talk a little bit specifics about certain teams. Maybe your favorite team here is going to be on my list. Number 13, I believe and predict that the two most competitive divisions and deepest divisions in college football this season will be the ACC Atlantic and the Wild Wild West of the Big Ten West. Let me go ahead and focus a little bit on the ACC Atlantic. I believe there are 4 teams that could win that division. It's so close. It really comes down to talent, as it always does, but also depth and simply scheduling. I believe in alphabetical order, all 4 of these teams can claim the trophy: Clemson, Florida State, NC State, and Wake Forest. Now, one potential sleeper or somebody who I think is going to maybe have some say-so because they might knock 1 or 2 of those teams off, I definitely say be on the lookout for Boston College to wreak a little bit of havoc within that division. Now, the Big Ten West, the division that my Iowa Hawkeyes are within, I also see 4 teams that could potentially hoist the trophy and end up in Indianapolis representing the Big Ten West. In alphabetical order, I think Iowa, Minnesota, Purdue, or Wisconsin could win the Big Ten West. And my sleeper or team that could maybe wreak a little bit of havoc will be the Nebraska Cornhuskers. So don't overlook Nebraska this season. So once again, rate, like, share, comment. Let me know what you think. Let me know how I'm doing. Agree, disagree. I want to get your insight, your input. Moving on, number 14. I already mentioned them as a potential college football playoff participant. The NC State, the Wolfpack of NC State. Could they get in? I have them finishing 1 game out of the playoff, but I expect them to have a great season. I think at the end of the season, NC State will record its first ever AP Top 10 finish in program history. That's right. The Wolfpack have never ended the season inside the top 10, but that will come to an end at the end of this season. Number 15, big one. Now, I hate to give this one away. It's something I will talk more about during that big upcoming conference and playoff predictions episode coming out in a few weeks. But I've got to get this one out there because it affects my Iowa Hawkeyes. Number 15, those 4 teams and Nebraska who can maybe play the sleeper. I actually believe that Minnesota, that's right, Goldie himself and the bald-headed beauty, P.J. Fleck, Minnesota will be the team who will win the Big Ten West. I primarily believe that because of their schedule. They host Iowa. They have to go to Wisconsin, but P.J. Fleck, in his short time in the Twin Cities, has already knocked off the Badgers twice. One of those at Camp Randall, where they go this season. But the big reason I went back and forth between Minnesota and Purdue and Iowa is because Minnesota hosts not just Iowa, but also they host Purdue. And I think the winner of Purdue-Minnesota will ultimately be the winner of the Big Ten West. That's how I see it going down. So, number 16. Ooh, there's always a good, a bad, and an ugly. Whoa, 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 wah, wah, wah. These 3 teams, unfortunately, I think will be the ugly. I predict, based on schedules, what they have coming back, and trends, that the following 3 teams, Duke, Northwestern, and Vanderbilt, yes, great academic schools, no doubt about that, as great academically as they may be, I believe those 3 teams will all go winless within conference play this season. And for a team like Vanderbilt, who knows where the absolute bottom of the pit is. I mean, their losing streak, at this point I have forgotten, but I know it is in the teens as far as their SEC losing streak, and I absolutely believe that's going to be, you can add 8 games to that. So those 3 teams, Duke, Northwestern, Vandy, I believe will all go winless within conference play. Next, let me go and get a quick swig of water. Woo! Oh, that's better. Thank you once again for your time, your attention, your support. Love you. No, Sammy Sosa style. Number 17. Because I already mentioned, I believe you won't have any undefeated teams prior to conference championship weekend. I believe both of the SEC heavyweights, Alabama and Georgia, will each suffer 1 conference loss during the regular season. And these will be, at the time, or right now as I say them, basically headline-catching upsets. Ones that I think Alabama and Georgia will be favored, but I believe each of them will lose 1 game. And I'm going to give you the opponent that I believe they will lose to. I believe Alabama will lose on Rocky Top in Knoxville at Tennessee. And I believe Georgia will lose at Mississippi State. So the Bulldogs will give that vaunted Georgia defense something a little bit different. The air raid, pitch and catch, timing routes, I think that'll be a little bit too much for them. And the cowbells will be loud. And after the victory at the end of the game, there definitely will be more cowbell. Hopefully you like that there. So those are the teams that will knock off Alabama and Georgia, I predict, in the regular season. 18. At season's end, BYU will emerge as the cream of the crop among independent teams. A little bit ago, when I gave you my 7 potential playoff field candidates, I told you Notre Dame was not on that list. Because I actually believe BYU is the better football team. Now, they're not going to start off as highly ranked as Notre Dame is, but remember, these 2 teams meet head-to-head in Las Vegas, and I think that the truth will be told on the field when BYU beats Notre Dame. And Notre Dame may end up even with a better record, maybe more highly ranked than BYU, but BYU's schedule is absolutely legit. They've got Arkansas, they've got Baylor, Boise State, I believe they play. I mean, Notre Dame, they play a legitimate schedule as they do every season. So I definitely think BYU, even though the records or the rankings may not show it, I think BYU will be the best independent team at the end of the season. Number 19. So for all of you who enjoyed my last year's bowl predictions on the coaching carousel, you're going to like this one. Now, this season will be nothing like we saw last season. It was absolutely out of control, but there is going to be a little bit of cleaning house, especially in the ACC conference this year. So these are the following coaches I predict will be dismissed at season's end or during the season at their current programs. Let's start off in the Pac-12. I think Herm Edwards at Arizona State will be history, along with Carl Durrell, the current Colorado head football coach. Now, in the ACC, I think Dino Babers' time at Syracuse will come to an abrupt end, as will Jeff Collins' time as the Georgia Tech head football coach. So those are the primary candidates I see being dismissed at the end of the season or during the season. So right there, you're probably thinking, hold on, time out, stop the presses. He's leaving somebody off his list. That's right. I'm going to get to it right now. Number 20, Scott Frost. That's what this means. At the end of the season, moving forward into 2023, Scott Frost will remain the head coach at Nebraska. I think Nebraska will have a decent comeback season. Right now, Vegas has them over under 7.5 wins. I'll talk about that one here in a little bit. I definitely think Nebraska will do better. Can they get to bowl eligibility or slightly better? I believe so. I do not buy all the hype that they are a legitimate threat in the Big Ten West. I'm sorry. You're still coached by Scott Frost, but they will win enough games and look well and coached and look good enough on the field to secure him some employment for at least one more season. So there you go. Last year I was all about Scott Frost being gone, but I think this season they will win enough just to give him at least one more season. Number 21, the last part of my coaching carousel bold predictions. Brian Harson, the very embattled and in my mind, dead man walking head football coach at Auburn, he will be terminated, and not just terminated, but I'm predicting terminated during the season as Auburn's head football coach. If it really goes a little bit ugly, early in the season, they have a return trip in the non-conference, huge game. Penn State, the Nittany Lions, travel to the Plains. That is a huge game, a huge barometer game for Brian Harson. If Penn State goes in there and gets the victory and wins handedly, it could be a very short season for Coach Brian Harson. So I do believe he'll be fired, but also during the season at some point. Now, to further piggyback off of that, number 22, who will Auburn hire to replace Brian Harson? I think all eyes, everything points to one man. As the next head football coach, Auburn will name that coach to be current Liberty head football coach Hugh Freeze. I think his time has been served. The penalties that he did, the big-time mistakes he made as Ole Miss's head football coach, I think Auburn will bring him in because when it comes down to it, push comes to shove, he has beat the GOAT, Coach Nick Saban at Alabama, twice, and I believe in back-to-back seasons at that. So that is all I have for this year's coaching carousel bold predictions. Let's move on to number 23. For all you bettors out there, last year, during my bold predictions for the 21 college football season, I told you, if you're a betting man, which I am not, just reminding you, But hey, if you do take my advice and see it fit to offer me a cut of your winnings, okay. I don't want to be rude or disrespectful. But last year I told you to bet the over on Illinois 3.5 victories and the over for Michigan at 7 victories. And if you listen to that, you definitely won yourself some money. So once again, I am not advocating for you to go out and gamble. Listen to me and let it ride. Put down your mortgage. Don't put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying if I were a betting man, these are the teams I would go with, whether it's over and under. Place a little bit of moolah, a little bit of dough down, just to try to win something back later. So my best bet win totals. Currently, and this is as of 3 days ago, I looked online at betmgm.com out in Vegas. Now, there's several different sites out there. I mean, you also have DraftKings, maybe a local casino or a state online gaming casino betting site. But this is just what I'm seeing from BetMGM. Kentucky. MGM has Kentucky at 8.5 wins. I say take that under. They have a very tough schedule. They lose all-purpose playmaker Wan'Dale Robinson, the man who single-handedly defeated Iowa January 1st at the Citrus Bowl, who miraculously, I think he went to the sidelines 4 or 5 times with an injury, but seemed to always come right back in and torch the Hawkeyes. So I think Kentucky this year is going to struggle. Definitely a tough schedule. Look at that schedule to see what I mean. So I would say take Kentucky under 8.5 wins. Next is Oregon State. MGM has Oregon State at 5.5 wins. I say take the over on the Beavers. I think this team really can make a little bit of noise, a lot of noise actually, in the Pac-12. I actually believe remember, this season the Pac-12 is already done away with division winners. They still have the divisions this season for scheduling purposes, but the 2 best teams with the 2 best winning percentages will advance to the Pac-12 title game. If that weren't the case, being in the Pac-12 North, I actually would have been this close to picking Oregon State to winning the Pac-12 North ahead of in-state rival Oregon and Washington. So I am all about the Beavers. Take Oregon State over 5.5 according to MGM. Next team in the Big 12, TCU. BetMGM has TCU at 6.5 victories. I say take the over on the Horned Frogs. They have plenty of experience back. Their schedule is very inviting. Now, yes, they do have a new coach. This is the inaugural season for Coach Sonny Dykes, but I think there is enough in place here for TCU to be a legitimate power player in the Big 12. So take TCU over 6.5 victories. Also in the Pac-12, I look at the Stanford Cardinal. That's right, not Cardinals. They're one of the very few teams that are a singular, not a plural, mascot, just like the Tulsa Golden Hurricane, not Canes, not Cardinals. So BetMGM has Stanford at 4.5 victories. I say take the over on Stanford. They have a stud quarterback back in McKay, I believe, or McKay, a guy who is definitely going to be playing in the very near future in the NFL. And they do have a very tough schedule. I mean, do I think Stanford is going to get to the Pac-12 title game? I do not. But would it not overly surprise me? Or if you wanted to put some money on them getting to that, sure, why not? But their schedule is very difficult. But I like them to get to at least 5 wins. Take them over 4.5. Nebraska, getting back to them, I think they will be improved. BetMGM has Nebraska at 7.5 victories. It's going to be tough for them to get to 8 wins. They're still coached by Scott Frost. Yes, they have a new offensive coordinator, some new pieces, a new quarterback, but they're not going to get to 8 wins. So I tell you to take Nebraska under 7.5 victories. And the last one that hits kind of at home, one of our own beloved black and golds, a team that is flying under the radar this season within the SEC East. As you can tell, I'm a Hawkeye fan, but I have a vested interest in the Missouri Tigers. I currently am a resident of the Show Me State, so I do stay up with Missouri, and several of my friends and family members are alums of Missouri. BetMGM has Missouri at 5.5. I think they are going to be much improved this season under Coach Drinkowitz. So I tell you to take the black and gold of Missouri over 5.5 wins. So those are my best bet totals for this upcoming season, over and under. Let me know what you think. Let me get a quick swig of water once again. All right. So last year, another one of my predictions, I gave you a list of teams who I believed would start the year ranked, but would end the regular season unranked. Now, the official AP rankings have not been released yet, but number 24, these are the teams I predict that will start the season ranked, but will end the season unranked in the AP poll, or by that time it would be basically the college football playoff rankings, either one. So those teams who I think will start but finish unranked will be Arkansas, Baylor, Cincinnati, Iowa, Kentucky, Pitt, and Wake Forest. Those teams, if they are ranked, they will finish the season unranked. Take it from me. All right. Number 25, my last one of the day. And once again, thank you for everything, your time, your attention, your support. It is greatly appreciated, always welcomed. Once again, like, share, subscribe. Let's keep the good thing going. Let's keep the momentum going. It's all downhill from here, folks. Number 25, because right now we're seeing so much upheaval. The sport that we love dearly is absolutely going through earth-quaking, earth-shattering changes with the rise of NIL, the transfer portal, conference realignment, college football playoff expansion potentially. There is so much going on. I mean, rewind a year ago, we had the breaking news of Oklahoma and Texas leaving the Big 12 for the SEC, and just simply weeks ago, UCLA and USC told the Pac-12 and Pac-12 Commissioner George Kliavkoff, like Moses, to let my people go, and they are now officially joining the Big Ten in 2024. You talk about a kick to your Kliavkoff there, if you're the commissioner. Anyway, all of the craziness, everything that basically every conference seems to be acting independently. They don't necessarily care or think about how their decisions will interfere, interact, or change the other conferences. But the thing is, that's totally okay. These conference commissioners, that's what they're hired to do. They are hired to make the best decision for their respective conferences. So, Kevin Warren adding USC and UCLA, absolutely, he's thinking of the benefits and bonuses from that. He's not necessarily thinking about how that's going to affect the Mountain West, the SEC, or even the Pac-12 that they're coming from. But I think that eventually, and we have to have somebody who is going to tell some of these conference commissioners to, hey, pump the brakes a little bit. I am going to be the final authority on what can and can't happen. I'm not saying going to be somebody who's not going to allow college football to evolve. It definitely already is, but maybe more of a controlled evolution to make decisions based on the benefit, not just short term, but long term of everybody. Because it all does roll downhill once again, and the dominoes effect. It is a symbiont relationship between big and small conferences. So this is what I believe. I believe prior to the 2023 kickoff that there will be a named college football commissioner, czar, godfather, Caesar, pharaoh, prime minister, whatever you want to call him or her. But I think the inaugural college football commissioner, the person that I can think of, I can't think of anyone better than him based on his experience, being a former head coach and a great head coach, being an athletic director at one of the best universities in the nation, and also being a member of the College Football Playoff Committee, will be Barry Alvarez. I think he will be named the first ever College Football Playoff Commissioner prior to the 2023 college football kickoff season. There we go. So those are my 25 bold predictions for the 2022 football season. I hope you enjoyed them. Once again, like, share, subscribe, comment. Let me know what you think. Did I forget something? Do you agree, disagree? Think I'm, cuckoo. That's totally fine. If you want to call me a dirty SOB, so be it. I've been called worse. I'm a big boy. I can take it. But, so thank you for everything that you do. Look for me to be back next week. I am going to bring you the season preview and prediction for our Missouri Tigers. I hope to be joined by my former co-host, but never partner, just to set the record straight, Charlie Oswald. Will break down Missouri's season, how we see them finishing. So look for that next season. Until then, thank you for all that you do. I appreciate it. Thank you for watching this episode of the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. Until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, peace and prosperity. Until then, adios. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye.